If a black person had said what Mehdi had said on that particular network, would they have been fired in this particular climate? I don't know. Is Joy fired? No, she's not. But Joy isn't Muslim, is she? And Joy isn't Arabic. So we gotta that's a conversation separately, obviously. But like, we understand there are systems of control. Yeah. Period. Point blank. Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein ain't fucking put all that work into creating all them lists and using all that jet fuel. I know AOC is just super upset about that, all that carbon in there. But like, using all that jet fuel to blackmail all those people for them to not use it against anybody. And we know he worked for Zionists. That's a fact. It's not debatable. It's not disputable. That is on paper, bruh. Like, we know this. So we need to figure out how to address these systems of control for what they are and stop letting fucking words and accusations and like this inflammatory language scare people from calling people out. Did he? Did he say he was done? Was that the lie they telling out there? Is that what they telling people?
I mean, I know he's done with MSNBC.
Nah, but I'm saying he's saying that he's done with MSNBC. Like he ain't done. They were done with him. I mean, guys, I know I got no love from Mehdi. I got none. I do not fuck with Mehdi. Mehdi is, oh man. Am I allowed to cuss on your show? I can't remember. It's like one of those situations where I can't, because he's a punk ass bitch. You can edit that out later, but he's a bitch. I cannot stand Mehdi Hasan. I don't like he does the whole everything. He's always a victim until somebody else is actually the victim. Then it's why are you complaining so much for? They're always turning themselves into. He always wants to throw out his little "I'm a Muslim liberal" card whenever it's convenient, but then he wants to turn around and be as neocon can be when it's also convenient. But like, the reality of this situation is, because if you recall, whenever this whole situation popped off with Palestine and Israel, it was him and two of his colleagues from MSNBC who lost their shows at the same time.
Yeah, like it was Mehdi Hasan, Ayman Mohadeen, and Ali Velshi. All were completely axed from their shows at the time of when Palestine started having more consistent bombing after October 7th.
Yeah, and two of them hadn't even, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't even really tweet like that. But one of them was in Gaza covering, or at least in Israel, and trying to get into Gaza, trying to cover the story on the ground. So I don't think that's any better. I think that's worse. Like, basically you decided, now we're not about to have no Muslim at MSNBC telling the world what's happening in real time from the ground. It's already bad enough they have Joy. They're allowing Joy to do it, right? They're not about to allow a Muslim to do it. And then the other guy just went dark. I don't remember what their excuse was for him. And then Mehdi went dark, and everybody was waiting for an answer. Like, hey, Mehdi, so this is kind of weird. We noticed all the Muslims at your network don't have shows anymore, and they didn't really give a reason. Like, Mehdi's going on vacation. It's just a coincidence. Something like that. Come on with a fucking lie. Everybody was waiting. And his show kind of gradually returned about a month or so later, and then his contract, because what people got to remember is Mehdi's in the middle of his contract. His contract is it's still ongoing, which means he's terminating early. Why?
Yep.
Why? And what happened to the other guys? Well, I don't think they got their shows back either. But obviously, Mehdi was the most popular of the three. So what happened? And we know what happened. Mehdi got fired for being Muslim during a conflict. And to be fair to him, he's been very good, really, on discussing this issue of Israel and Palestine. Gotta give him credit there. He's actually been good. I thought he was going to sell his people out completely. I thought he was going to hit a little Don Lemon on him. But nah, he actually was consistent, and he paid for it. You guys, I don't know why people think that you can tap dance and that somehow the establishment will go back into your file to look at how many times you tap dance for them to decide how they will proceed when you finally decide to buck their system. Like, no, you don't get to. No, the moment you do it, you're done.
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
Like, and this is no shade to Mark Lamont Hill, but Mark Lamont Hill was on CNN, and the moment he went to the UN and said, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Next thing you know, CNN said, kick rocks. And they asked him, they were like, hell no, you ain't doing that.
And that was before the ADL actually labeled that as a quote unquote anti-Semitic phrase. That was before that. It was just merely the fact that he was advocating for Palestine at all. Right? So what we are noticing, and by the way, I mean, if Van Jones I'll give you another example. If Joanne Reed had spoken during the 2020 campaign about Kamala or Joe Biden too, but Kamala, but by a section, mostly Kamala, if she had talked about everything that Kamala had done, from the perspective of a black woman, from the experience of a black woman, and how damaging that is to our community, she would have been fired too. Because those experiences are legitimate. Why do you think they work so hard to make sure that we don't fucking get those positions? They want to make sure they have someone controlled in those positions because they understand experience leads credence and credibility. And Mehdi, being Muslim, being Arabic, that actually adds some credibility to what he's saying, especially considering, and this is to liberals, by the way. He ain't telling us nothing. He ain't said nothing slick to a can of oil when it comes to actual leftists, right? When it comes to actual independence, when it comes to the people who have been advocating for this issue, for the freedom of Palestinians, for the freedom of Gaza, the end of the apartheid there. He ain't saying nothing new to us, but them liberals. The liberals that he told to vote for Joe Biden, they listen. Vote for Kamala, they listen. Said Trump should be arrested, they listen. There's no such thing as election fraud, they listen. Russiagate, they listen. And they still listen to this day. He's an idiot, but they still listen. But then he's saying, hey, man, Israel wrong. Now, all of a sudden, their ears perking up again. Like, oh, Israel's wrong? So now they got to do their deep dive, and they're going to find out, oh, shit, they're really wrong. Because Mehdi was giving a damn near a censored version of it, of what was going on. Even though he was right on the issue, he's been given a censored version of it, probably for the sake of his job. But, yeah, those accounts that were removed from Twitter today. Now, I ain't going to go on all that shit, but most of those accounts are liberal accounts that are right on Palestine and Israel because it's an obvious fucking issue to be right about. Like, it's easy. But a lot of those accounts are liberal accounts. They actually are more dangerous when it comes to the potential to spread this narrative like wildfire, because they have an audience that otherwise, like, once again, they're not saying anything new to us, JB. They're not saying shit that we ain't heard, but they're saying a lot of stuff that liberals ain't heard because they haven't been paying attention to this issue. Have they? Yep. And they blindly, you can't, some of the stuff that these neoliberals say on Twitter or whatever, like, you can't really say that the people who follow them are thoroughly researching before they actually take whatever those people say is the truth. You can't say that. And so, do you think they're going to start all of a sudden with Israel Palestine? No, they're going to be like, oh, this person said that, my little liberal blue check mark over there. Well, shit, I believe it too. Free Palestine. That's how it goes. So they're more dangerous.
Yep. Let's take a look at what Mehdi Hasan said. And we'll read about what actually happened. Because, I mean, it's... Mehdi Hasan said a lot of nothing to me, but let's go.
Yeah, he did say a lot of nothing.
He did say a lot of nothing. On MSNBC.
Really, though? Has it, Mehdi?
For the past 3 years with an amazing team of producers behind me and with all of you watching at home. It's been a privilege. It's been a pleasure. But as we begin 2024 with an election coming, a war still ongoing, and too many Trump trials, honestly, to even keep track of, and with this show going away, I've decided that it's time for me to look for a new challenge. Tonight is not just my final episode of the Mehdi Hasan Show. It's my last day with MSNBC. Yes, I've decided to leave. To be clear, I am so proud, so proud of what we've achieved on this show, on this network. And I can't thank you all enough for tuning in and for your support and for your feedback. But as I say, new year, new plans. You can continue to follow me online at Mehdi R. Hasan on Instagram, on Threads, and of course, Twitter or X. I'll give you updates on what's coming next for me. For now, from me, for one last time on this network,
yeah, we don't need to hear the rest. So,
hey, you know what that sound like? That sound like the sound of a man who said, "Yeah, they fired me, but boy, I'm about to get paid to chill at home." anyway. That's what that sounds like. That boy is cheery. He's like, man, it's fucked up what they did, but I'm still about to be collecting the check because they definitely violated that contract.
Yep.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Basically.
He said, new year, new me.
Yep.
Do this. No, it's still messed up what happened, to be honest, because like, dog, like they out here firing people for being Muslim. Like, that's insane. Yep. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but like there are quote unquote conspiracy theories. Now you can take that phrase and, you know, connotate it however you choose to, but they call it conspiracy theories that Zionists run the majority of the mainstream media. Okay, let's just call it a conspiracy theory and assume that it's not true. But if it was true, what would that look like? The moment that, like, for example, the moment that Muslim, like a war starts off where Zionists are literally massacring Muslims, Arabs specifically, and then the very few Muslims in media that are covering it and talking about it in a way that you would expect them to, they all lose their shows in the same week. At least 2 of them were fired quietly. One of them just made a big announcement that he was based. I mean, for all intents and purposes, he's probably fired. We can assume that. How does that look? Like, are they doing a good job convincing people that Zionists don't run media? That's my question. I don't know what they thought their goal would be. Like, y'all thought that Mehdi Hasan was going to move the needle of the narrative on Israel and Palestine? If anything, Mehdi knew goddamn well he had to get this right. He knew, because the narrative had already been there. We already knew what time it was. If anything, he just had to not fuck up. But you were so terrified that this person with this platform, with this particular religious and ethnic background could move the needle this much that you fired him and you fired 2 of his colleagues. And we're like, okay, who did that? Whose decision was that? Maybe the person who ripped up the contract wasn't a Zionist, but was his boss. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. It ain't like you got to be Jewish to be Zionist. Joe Biden has made that very clear over and over and over again. Yep. At what point it's like us saying going to DC and be like, DC is controlled by corporations. Like, is that like a ridiculous claim? Is there literally anything else demonstrating otherwise? Like, do we have any evidence to the contrary? No, not at all. Like, absolutely, no. We can point to the numbers. Right? No. Hell, you can say DC's ran by AIPAC. The numbers should show that this is a factual statement. Like, it's like saying YouTube pays the bills for Jimmy Dore. Well, yeah, you can look at the damn numbers on YouTube, and that's where check come from. Yeah, it's not anti-YouTubic to say that. It's a factual statement. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, when you have a situation where Muslims are being massacred by Zionists, where Zionists run the political side via AIPAC, and then you have Zionist corporations coming out and actually advocating people to be fired from their jobs, and then it's happening, right? And then Zionist media, publications and things of that nature are coming out and putting out lies, like the New York Times article that Max Blumenthal thoroughly debunked and no one wants to debate him on. Like, yeah. And just publishing stuff as if it's true when it's opinion and innuendo, or just outright lies. People getting fired from their job for being Muslim and Arab, the same particular group of people that are being massacred by Zionists. At what point, people, do we not take a step back and say, God damn, I almost wonder if all black people were running that particular network, would Mehdi have been fired? Probably not. If a black person had said what Mehdi had said on that particular network, would they have been fired in this particular climate? I don't know. Is Joy fired? No, she's not. But Joy isn't Muslim, is she? And Joy isn't Arabic. So we gotta that's a conversation separately, obviously. But like, we understand there are systems of control. Yeah. Period. Point blank. Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein fucking put all that work into creating all them lists and using all that jet fuel. I know AOC is just super upset about that, all that carbon in there. But like using all that jet fuel to blackmail all those people for them to not use it against anybody. And we know he worked for Zionists. That's a fact. It's not debatable. It's not disputable. That is on paper, bruh. Like, we know this. So we need to figure out how to address these systems of control for what they are and stop letting fucking words and accusations and like this inflammatory language scare people from calling people out. Because that's what I saw this wonderful video, man, before we move on. This woman was saying how the oppressive class will use the one marginalized characteristic that they might have and to try and denigrate or to basically pretend as if a legitimate marginalized class is just bullshitting and complaining and they're just looking for something. Like she was saying, for example, in the women's suffrage movement, whenever it came to the black issues, specifically regarding that, they would ignore it and say, I'm a woman, I know how it is to be marginalized, and that's how I know everything those black women are talking about is bullshit. Because I conquered this, and this. So it's like, so you didn't benefit from the system at all because of the specific benefits that come with being a white woman, for example? Because black women don't get to play the victim like white women do. Oh God, no. Ain't no black cop ran up into a home and killed a black guy or killed any man because a black woman was there. Right? You'd be lucky if the cop shows up to the fucking house, if anything, right? So like, what we do is we have people that have one marginalized characteristic, and then but they are still in positions of power, and then they use that to basically gatekeep and play, and they do so by playing the victim. And this is like, I mean, it's like probably politics 101 at this point. It was definitely Zionism 101, but it is a form of control. And we got to start being willing to address this. Zionism is no different than no different as far as being a system of control as a Democratic Party, as a corporation, as the Republican Party. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all the same thing. It's not about Zionism is not about religion at all, which is why so many Hasidic Jews have so many problems with Israel existing in its current state anyway. Right? Yeah. So we got to start calling spades out here in perpetuity, not just with Zionism, but in general. And y'all need to remember that shit when this election comes up. All right? I swear to God, JB, if I see these people that were screaming Genocide Joe come out and vote for this motherfucker, I swear to God, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to rip out all my dreads, dog. I'm going to rip all them out.
Don't do that. Don't do that, bro.
Nah, I ain't going to do that, man. I love my dreads. They ain't going nowhere.
Nah, we don't. We don't need that. No, we don't want that.
Let nobody touch my hair. I ain't touching my hair. No. Hey, nobody touch my hair.
Just to put a pin in it. Let's take a look at what Savvy Sav. She said this. She said Mehdi Hasan leaves MSNBC. Go through the timeline of his Gaza coverage since October 7th. 1. Muslim host absence from MSNBC. You brought that out. 2. The Mark Regev interview. 3. MSNBC. Yeah. 3. MSNBC cancels the Mehdi Hasan show. 4. Mehdi leaves MSNBC. We can all see what happened here. Is she wrong?
Because why he leave the whole network, bro?
Yeah.
Why you know what I'm saying? They didn't move his show. He left the whole network mid-contract. And their excuse was, it's a new year.
New year, new me. Oh, boy.
Imagine Mehdi having, which he probably would have done, because it's going to be a topic of conversation for at least the next several weeks. Imagine Mehdi having to cover that war crimes trial in South Africa. You think they want that? Nah. You can pack it up, bro. We'll pay you to stay home. But like, one of my friends said about Don Lemon, because, he started his new show. That shit probably gonna be a fucking flop. Don Lemon think he Tucker Carlson, bro. Not with that haircut. But it's going to be the same thing where I think he's going to potentially, like my friends, he's like, maybe he's going to be a different Mehdi because he's going to see the wave that Glenn Greenwald on the left started, and you can juxtapose that with, you know, Tucker Carlson on the right, and try to toe this line of independence where possible. Because honestly, shit, that's where the wave is now. Y'all are welcome, by the way, for that. You know, and we're going to talk about that. Y'all welcome, by the way, for that. But yeah, maybe that's what he's going to try to do. For you know, I don't believe it's in good faith, but it's a possibility. You saw the Krasenstein brothers try to do the same shit, where they try to walk this bullshit line that they're still neoliberals, but they try to pretend to be objective. That could be where Mehdi is headed, because he just found out in real time, oh shit, I just bought all these expensive ass tap dancing shoes, and now they're just gonna be chilling in the closet. Fire me anyway. I just wanted to do the hustle one time. I tried to crank that Soulja Boy one time. One time. They're like, nope. Oh, no. We pay the tap dancer. We don't pay the fucking crank that.
Thank you so very much for watching my channel, and I deeply appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you wish to support the channel further, so I can keep bringing you content that is educational and informative, you can become a patron on patreon.com/Jaybefaunt. You can find that link in the pinned comment or in the description below. No matter what you give, you'll be supporting independent media and education that helps make the world better. Thank you so much, and you can watch more of my content here. Mwah. Forehead kisses, and have a beautiful day.